Good Motivational Monday, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chase Corrington, and this is the Chase Corrington YouTube channel, where we seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment, where we seek to discover the hidden mysteries of our reality and the hidden wisdom of the ages. And there is just that, ladies and gentlemen. There is a wisdom that goes back hundreds, if not thousands of years throughout all cultures across the globe, that has been unfortunately hidden or not passed down through the masses. And I think this has led to a lot of struggles and problems with ourselves. What do I mean by that? I feel like there was this mentality or this understanding of who we are, what we really are, and understanding that allows you to operate in this life with more peace, more peace of mind, more bliss, more happiness, makes things work out better. And then this got lost, and so I feel like we live in a way nowadays that is not so harmonious. It leaves us asking ourselves, who really are we? Like, why are we here? We have no purpose. It causes so much negative. You could say stress, you could say anxiety, depression, sadness, fear, struggles, angers, all of those things I think are caused by this lack of connection to a greater understanding. Today I want to talk about ambition anxiety, not judging yourself, because this is very important to me. I'm sure everybody can relate when you have goals that you set for yourself. The sports example, like your ultimate goal in life is to be a champion. When really, if you were a champion all of a sudden, without ever playing any of the games or putting in any of the practice, it would almost be unfulfilling to instantly have the goal without the process. But yet, while we're in the process, we judge ourselves so much for not being at the goal that we're trying to achieve. And so ambition, anxiety, it's overwhelming. It's super powerful, and it causes a lot of negative feelings. And negative feelings cause certain chemicals to, be produced. Is a crutch word that I use too often. But not judging yourself for where you are in the process, because it's all process, ladies and gentlemen. And so it's really hard to not judge yourself when you're so connected to a goal. This goes back to, how do we be in the now while wanting to grow in the future without coming from a place of deficiency or lack being our motivation? It's the ultimate struggle. I mean, if you've got the money to pay for a psychiatrist or a therapist or a spiritual guru, or you know what I mean? I feel like when you pay the money for those things, you almost end up having to figure it out for yourself in the long run anyways. Though you may get, better directed insights from these teachers or gurus or psychiatrists or, whatever it is that's I feel that I experience close loved ones in my life that are unhappy by choice. And then that shows me that I am also doing that. When I am unhappy, it's usually by choice, a lack of perspective. Like when you're, I wish I had, like I wish I was selling a painting every day, $50 a day, so I could quit my, you have all these goals for yourself, and then you judge yourself for not being there. And that's a lack of appreciation for where you are. So when I'm judging myself for not being in a position where I'm a full-time, artist selling landscape paintings every day, that's like me not appreciating my ability to actually create the art. And, the process. Like when I started painting, it was total inspiration. And this is a key to solving this ambition anxiety, this goal-based depression, this future living, not being in the moment, is connecting with your inspiration. So, not judging yourself. When I first started painting, I was just inspired to try it. I wasn't like, I want to become an artist. I mean, I had always been kind of artsy, and been artistic in nature and creative, and, I did music and different things, but I had never painted, especially never done oil painting before. And then I just seen Bob Ross on TV, on Netflix a few years back, and was like, man, he says the whole episode, he's like, it's just this easy. Like, you can do it. Anybody can do it. And I now know that to be true in every area of life. But my point is, I was inspired to just try it. I wasn't focused on an outcome. I was more focused in giving the process a go. And I was inspired. When I think the word inspired, I think in spirit. Wayne Dyer, as I've mentioned in previous shows of mine, he relates inspiration to in spirit. He says that's where inspiration comes from, being in spirit. And so he's like, this is when you are inspired, this is you being connected to God. Not God as like an authority figure, but the universal energy, the essence of what everything is, and this connection to all, coming back to being in the process, being in the moment, rather than the opposite, not being in the process, connecting to a goal, not being in the moment, connected to the future or the past in the way that you think it should be or should have been, and the, not accepting that everything is, but rather it's just separate events and it's not all connected. That's deep. But ambition anxiety, not judging yourself for where you are in the process, because it's all process. So when you become the champion, when you reach that goal that you're going for, believe it or not, that's actually just the next step in the process. When you win the Super Bowl, it's like, what next? Do you go win another Super Bowl? Do you try to go to the championship for 10 years in a row? Like, it's really A personal revelation, if you work for a goal your entire life, and then you get to that goal, you don't know how to handle it. You've spent your entire life working for something that's not now, thinking to yourself, I'll enjoy myself and now whenever I reach then. And so you postpone your gratification on purpose. And then when people come and tell you, hey, no, just enjoy the process, you like argue to defend how wrong they are. That's what really blows my mind, is we argue defending our misery. We're like, no, it really is this bad. No, I really do suck. I'm just not that good. Because when I get there in the future, then I'll be good. When really, when you get there in the future, you'll have never spent any time enjoying the now. And so when you get to this point to where you thought you'd enjoy the now, it's gone. You're like, oh, I don't know what to do. Then you futurize again. This goes back to the 3-letter trap that I talked about a few episodes back. I think it's the IFD trap. The idealizing leads to frustration, leads to demoralization, which goes back to the start, and you idealize about the future again. You get to the future, or that moment, the championship, and it's not what you thought it was. And so you're like, damn it. Maybe if I found a way to enjoy the training. Like I keep going back to football references because I'm a football fan. I was throughout most of my life before I got into all this deep psychological, philosophical, spiritual talk and thoughts. And it's like the football analogy of, like week 1, if you're not focused on getting a first down and scoring, if you're focused on winning the game, you're not going to be focused on catching the pass. And if you're focused on winning the Super Bowl, you're not going to be focused on winning the game. And so if you keep breaking that down further and further, what you find out is if you're not focused on right now, like being totally immersed, like the Japanese tea ceremonies, like they're not pouring the tea to drink the tea and then be like, that was good tea, okay, whatever. They like really get enveloped into the moment, and the moments become so cliche. They really get enveloped into what creates the moment. So the sensations, how it smells, how the end of your fingertips feel when they touch the warm teacup, and how the waters, how the tea sounds when it pours. Smells. I'm really weird with smells. That helps me get into the moment. Like whenever I'm cooking, eating, drinking, anything to do with consumables, even soaps and stuff, I get so into the smells, and it's like intoxicating for me. Like I can take a cup of coffee and almost like smelling the steam that comes off the coffee more than, just drinking the coffee itself. And this all goes back to that enjoying the process. It's all about the process. Happiness is not found in the result. Fulfillment may be found in a result when it's part of a continual process. But I think the second we begin to detach our process from the results and separate them, like all this working that I'm doing is not the achievement at the end, that's how we all of a sudden go, oh, all this working is not fun because it's not the achievement. And the achievement is what I really want. And I don't want none of this work. But then that goes back to we've convinced ourselves that all this work is not, it's separate from the achievement. That goes back to everything. Like we are separate from everything. So we get upset about the way things are because we're like, oh, that's not us. This world isn't me. I'm me, and this is a problem. When really, we are everything. And if it's a problem, then we are it, and it is us. That's like the old saying, be the change you want to see. It's like, you are it, and it is you. That makes me think, people say, if God is love, or if this primordial, universal energy is harmony and coherence, why do bad things happen to good people? And why do, good things happen to bad people? And why do good people die young and all that? It's like, why is there starvation in the world? And once you stop separating things from light and dark, this separation, like us and the environment, organisms in the environment. We are an enviro-organism. And so the problems being separate from us, we are it and it is us. Be the change you want to see. So why is there starvation in the world? For the same reason that you have the thought to end it. The same reason you have the thought to end starvation and end, create world peace and all these good things is the same exact reason why there is that stuff. Because it is an interdependent coexistence relationship. Whew. Ambition, anxiety, ladies and gentlemen, is very deep, and it's all connected. That's what I find out. The more that I go into these rabbit holes, I'm like, you can talk about ambition, the anxiety to achieve results, and focusing on the process. It goes right into mindfulness. It goes into the explanation of God, the universe. I'm like, everything is connected. So I'm going to finish up my notes here. We're running right on 18 minutes. In time, what if time didn't exist either? Wow, that's overwhelming. I think I was getting that tingly feeling last video. If you didn't see my last video, check that out. It was kind of wild. But I had this crazy sensation, and it was like I was all tingly, and it was coming from the thought, like, what if money didn't exist? And what if there was no judgment? It's overwhelming. It's like everything I've ever done would have been different. And then what if time didn't exist? I'm like, would anything I do currently continue to be done? Probably not. That's a crazy thought. Let's run in to finish our little cardboard note piece here. So it is all process. And so we have to find a way to love where we are in the process, knowing that that is the result that we're going for in that process. So like you think you should be doing 50 other things, and you're judging yourself based on expectations, based on your expectations of where you should be, or like a future result, what you want to be, and you're not giving any respect or honor to the fact that the process is it is, or if not, it's more important, it's the same, or it's more important than the goal itself. We've got to figure out how to honor the process just as much as the goal the process is for. And so this goes into like you judging yourself for escapism. So like, say you want to be writing a book, but you're like watching Netflix all the time, or playing video games or something else, and you're like, man, I'm just lazy, I'm not doing you're judging yourself for not doing the things that you think you should be doing to reach your goal. You're connecting to the expectation, you're connecting to the outcome, creating an expectation of your current that's based on a future goal, not the moment. See, this is tricky. We can get ourselves in real trouble real easily here. But it's just as simple to reverse the process as it is to fall into this trap. We just have to come to the understanding so we can make the switch through concerted effort. So your laziness, like when you're telling yourself you're lazy, or when you're being lazy, like say, I want to write a book, and I'm like, I should write 50 pages today. But I'm being lazy. For some reason, I don't feel it. I'm not inspired. Because that's the key to success, is flowing in your inspiration. So you cannot sustain a forced action. So you can't go force yourself to write a book, because it's not going to come out the way it would if you flowed when you were inspired to write a book. So saying that, your laziness shows you what's important to you beyond the limited physical side of your ego. Beyond the beyond the expectation of results. So I should have written 50 pages today, but I played video games for 4 hours. And that was me being lazy, but really my laziness is showing me what's important to me beyond my ego expectation of the result of 50 pages or whatever I wanted to get done. So although you may feel by doing these certain things, these escapisms, that you're wasting time, I would like us to all consider, I would like to present the idea that actually we may be actually flowing with what inspires us, to listen to that inspiration and follow it while being practical. Because it's one thing to watch Netflix or play video games for a few hours or whatever. It's another thing to go like do heroin or ecstasy for have a drug trip for 10 weeks. That's not very practical. So, and even then, there's a spiritual argument that may be an inspiration that will lead you to later insights. So you got to be really, there's a lot of discernment that comes into following your inspiration, being in spirit, like following that higher guidance, that flow, when the physical ego results side of yourself says, that's not going to get you where you want to go right now. But then I always find later in life, we're like, man, that was so necessary. Like I like Star Trek and Stargate, SG-1 and all that. And I'm like, I judge myself for being lazy while I'm watching shows. I'm like, I should be making videos or, doing whatever I need to do to achieve the results that I want to achieve. But then I find I get these deep insights when I just go with my inspiration. Like, there's this Star Wars game for Xbox, whatever. I had been convincing myself over the last year that like video games were the worst thing for you. But I'm like inspired to play video games every now and then, not as often as I was when I was in high school. I was inspired to play video games my whole life back then. And if I would have found a way to actually be creative with it, actually create something rather than just consuming all day, it would have been very beneficial. But even then, I still gained deep insights about my personal psyche and, why I am the way I am and how I feel about certain things, and like just different perspectives from following in that inspiration, despite my, ego judgment of it being me being lazy. Like sometimes there's the old saying, like, God works in mysterious ways. I'd like to put it, your higher self works with this God universe thing to show you who you really are in very unexplainable and unexpected ways. But so your laziness shows you possibly what's important to you beyond the limited side of our physical ego. So although we may feel by doing certain things that we're wasting time and being lazy, we may actually be flowing with what inspires us, leading us to the greatest insights in our lives. So listen to that inspiration and follow it. And remember to be smart and practical while doing that. I hope this was informative, ladies and gentlemen. If you get value from this content, consider subscribing if you made it all the way to the end of this video, and I really appreciate that. 27 minutes in, that's a bit of a rant to go through, but I feel like, 23 minutes into this video, there was some life-changing sentences that really could help somebody. So if you did get value from this content, smash the like button, share this with somebody that you think might get value from it. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. I have other topics that I need to get to in the future. I was going to do, a Tao Te Ching based on Wayne Dyer's book about the Tao, but I got really uncertain about dealing with copyright issues based off reading a book. So if you have any information about that, I just didn't want to start putting out videos that would be violating copyright and then have them taken down and get my channel have like 4 strikes and then have the channel shut down. I'd rather have the things I say be available to people rather than having all of this destroyed because I wanted to read a book to people. So there's that. And I also want to get to that video on earthing and grounding. That's an exciting subject. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in the future with more Motivational Mondays, interesting topics, secrets of the universe, the hidden wisdom of the ages to bring your way, and continue to make a difference in the world. And stop judging yourself for where you are. Start appreciating your process.